Hello, I'm Sarah the Gallifreyan Ravenclaw. So I have a feeling this channel is about to become very Doctor Who heavy. We're now into November, which is obviously the anniversary month, and by the end of the month the specials are out. Last week's video I ironically recorded the day that they announced the dates, and I actually had put in a bit about some of my predictions of the dates, so that whole bit got cut, but they didn't confirm when they were going to confirm the dates, so that was always going to happen. So I thought I should do something non-Doctor Who before I get into this rest of the month, because it is going to become quite Doctor Who heavy. So if you're not interested in Doctor Who, sorry, I will go back to other stuff soon. So I'll probably do a ghost review after, I think it's the finale next week, but my channel will be quite Doctor Who heavy for the next few weeks. But as you've probably seen in the title, this is a discussion about the Fantastic Beasts series. And disclaimer, I am not mentioning anything to do with any of the actors. I agree that the negative publicity of some of that stuff probably didn't help in the long run, but I'm not addressing anything particularly about any of the cast. This is about plots, advertising, that sort of thing, not the cast. So, if you want videos bashing the cast, I'm sure there's a million of those out there, but I'm not interested in the cast. I'm doing the other things that the production team had more control over. So, the first film had a great plot, but I must have been living under a rock or something, because I don't remember seeing a single trailer for it. I don't know if that was bad advertising or I was just living under a rock. I do not remember seeing an advert for it. I don't recall ever seeing a trailer for it. I think I did probably watch it on YouTube once I knew it was out, but that was about it. I think I knew there was a series going to happen, and then I watched a I saw one of the YouTubers I follow had done a review of it and went, oh, it's out, and that series has started. Oh, I didn't even remember seeing a trailer, and looked it up. So if there wasn't a lot of advertising and that's not just me being stupid, then that should have definitely been a bigger thing. First in the series, you should be promoting. But the key thing with the first film is it remembered what some of the others seemed to forget. It's called Fantastic Beasts. Certainly number 2's guilty of that, but I'll get on to that in a minute. Because in the first one, the plot is Newt's case getting swapped and a muggle accidentally getting hold of it, or Nomad technically, and all the creatures that escaped, and yes, there is Credence and the Obscurus, but that's secondary. The main plot is Newt's case. They just sort of get tied up in all the Credence stuff almost by accident. And obviously the main reason he was even there was to deliver the Thunderbird, I think it was, to the desert. So that was the entire reason it happened, was because of a creature. He didn't go looking for Credence like he did in the second one. So in the second film, certainly I was disappointed about the lack of creatures. And although it explored Credence and Nagini's relationships, as well as Lita and Theseus's, it had too much going on, to be honest. And obviously the key cliffhangers that had been left over from the first one were sort of who is Credence, Jacob's memory, and then there was the whole announcement of a Maledictus, but that was theorised pretty instantly that it was Nagini, and then that was even confirmed in one of the trailers. I can't remember how long before, but it was like the penultimate trailer. They had like the whispering voice at the end saying Nagini, which, to be fair, that probably should have been something that was addressed at the beginning of the film, but because of the way the film is, you did sort of need to know that before the film, because it's not actually really specified at all anything about her. In the actual film, they don't explain the Maledictus very well. They don't explain really anything. So the thing the second one did was we did see Newt's home zoo, but it still didn't really feel like a Fantastic Beasts film. More like Credence and the Lestrange family. Like, that would have been a better title for it. Not even having the words Fantastic Beasts. But it was titled about Grindelwald, who was also barely in it. I think if you actually add up his screen time, he was probably more in the first one, if you're counting the polyjuiced or transfigured version of him. I think he was more in the first one. Obviously, if you're counting only Johnny Depp, then you're not going to count it because he was about 30 seconds in that case, but He was actually in the first one more than the second, I reckon. But obviously he was in disguise. I think Flamel was probably in the second one more than Grindelwald. But the thing the second film did do correctly was cliffhangers. I must have seen a million YouTube videos theorising how Credence could be a Dumbledore. If you watch Super Carlin Brothers, you'll know what I mean. I think they had a new one every month in between the two films, and that was like 2 years. It was made from Ariana, he was born out of Ariana's Obscurus. Dumbledore, born out of Dumbledore trying to remove himself of the guilt of Ariana's death. There were some very weird ones, but they had theories every month, and I doubt they were the only channel. And then there was obviously also the whole Queenie turning to Grindelwald thing and seeing how that would affect her sister's relationship and her relationship with Jacob and sort of what her role would be in Grindelwald's group. So personally, the third one was the one I headed to most excited to see. The first one I hadn't known existed. The second one, I felt like everything had been confirmed in the trailer. There wasn't really anything to go and see. And bar the twist that he wasn't a Lestrange, I think I pretty much did know the whole plot before going in. I was so excited to see the third film. I went to the cinema literally at 11 p.m. screening. I had no time that week to see it. It was the only time I was back home from uni. So me and my mum went to the cinema at like 11 o'clock at night. It was the next day by the time we finished. In the middle of the week, there was like 6 other people in the cinema. But I left that totally deflated. I sort of went, I'm not that excited for the next one now. I was really excited to see that one. I'm not actually that excited to see the next one. I was like, I'll give it a chance, but I wasn't excited for it. I wasn't going to rush to the cinema to see it. I doubt I'm the only one with that perspective, and I'm assuming that's part of the problem. But there were good parts to that film. There was a magical creature front and centre with the Qilin, but it was more there for Grindelwald's selection stuff rather than actually being a storyline in of itself. And there were more creatures because there were the crab things in the prison, which Newt and Theseus had to crab dance for. That was one of the best scenes, let's be honest. And then Pickett obviously saving the day. But the whole thing was a very filler film. So I left the cinema barely interested to see the next one. The total opposite to what I had just a few years earlier. So I said, I'm not that surprised that the fourth one was... I wasn't that surprised when I heard the fourth one was sort of to be confirmed whether it's happening. And I still don't think they've ever actually said, no, it's not. They've just not ever said it is, if that makes sense. If they did ever say, no, it's not, then I missed that. But it was, they sort of said, oh, we're not making it at the moment. And I don't think they've ever said anything since. But it does seem a bit of a shame for the series to have been changed from a trilogy to a 5-part, only to then get cancelled after 3. Because they were dragged out too much. So I don't know if 4 and 5 will ever get made. If 4 is ever made, I will go and see it. I will give it a chance, because I'd like to hope that there is actually something in it. But I'm not going to be rushing to the cinema at 11 o'clock at night again. If they'd finished the third one with a load of cliffhangers like they had the second one, I'd be more interested. But what annoyed me about the third one, and I doubt I'm the only one with this, was all the things I was most excited to see. Queenie, Nagini, Credence, were all sidelined. Queenie didn't seem to have a purpose in Grindelwald's group except to read minds. Like, can he not do legilimency himself? And we didn't even get to see what Tina thought of the situation, because the only time she turned up was at the wedding, and that was after Queenie had returned from Grindelwald's side. And Grindelwald made it perfectly clear multiple times that he objected with Muggle-wizard marriages. And that was the entire reason she joined him. So, I feel like he should have been pretending he was for them in front of her. Like, why was she staying with him when he was in front of her saying, like, oh, we don't want to impure our blood with muggles. Going, she joined you because she wanted to be able to marry him. So that just didn't seem to make any sense anyway. Right, they should have explained why she joined him in the first place. What was going through her head when she chose to step through that fire. Credence, ditto. What was he doing in Grindelwald's group? I get he was ill, but Grindelwald wasn't using him at all. I think he said more lines in the mirror than he did actually say. And obviously Nagini was cut entirely. I did know that beforehand, that she wasn't in it. I don't know if that was a cast thing or why that decision was made. Maybe it was her scheduling or something. But that did seem rather stupid to have gone, oh, here's this new character. Oh, yeah, she's joined the team. She's going to help fight him. Oh, no, she's disappeared now. No explanation. She's just gone. Huh? The second film had too much in it. So much so, they spent the entire third film trying to finish it all, tie up all the loose ends. Finish up all the storylines from the second film. There weren't things, not everything in 2 had to be in 2. If they'd, introduced Nagini in 3, then she wouldn't have been wasted in 2 and then cut from 3. She could have actually had an important role in 3. And also, I doubt I'm the only one with this, but that Case's twist in the third one, I saw coming from 100 miles away. I spent that entire battle scene going, well, the assistant had one. The assistant had one. Where's she? Where's Bunty? And then Newt gets destroyed. He's heartbroken because he believes that was the real one. And then Bunty shows up. What a surprise. She still had one. She put them out. She knew which one was the real one. She was clearly going to make sure she took it. And then the whole Yusuf thing was just confusing. What was the point in that? He went to Grindelwald. Grindelwald removed his memories of Lita. And then he didn't do anything for Grindelwald. He then turned up with Grindelwald and instantly showed the other two that he was on their side. Why did he even have to do that? Was that just a distraction technique? Because if he'd turned up then and then stood with Grindelwald's guys and fought Theseus and Lally, I had to Google her name. I'll get to that. He fought Theseus and Lally and then turned around and shot the Grindelwald supporters he was fighting with. There would have been a purpose to him being on both sides, but it was just sort of, they watched him turn up and he just went, hi guys, yes I am still with you. Where was the bit where we were supposed to doubt which side he was on? I said I had to write this double check Lally's name. I couldn't remember it, and I've seen the film twice. Because I watched it a second time when I got the DVD going. I missed something. Nope. There's nothing that important in it. It's quite easy to get all at once, even if it is 11 o'clock at night and you're tired. But I didn't remember her name. I can't think of a single thing she did that couldn't have been any other character in the entire universe. Why did they even need that many of them? I get that one of the storylines in the third one was the fact that there's so many things going on at once that Grindelwald can't tell what's going on, but that wasn't too confusing for us, or certainly not for me, because we didn't know what most of them were doing. We sort of saw the odd thing that each of them did, and we didn't really get confused, but there was just too many things going on at once that there wasn't anything important. You need a main storyline and then a load of smaller ones. There was nothing main. Because there was nothing important in 3, it was just sort of tying up the loose ends from 2. Sorry for just calling them the numbers the whole time. Too lazy to say the full names every time, but you know what I mean if I say 3 and 2. So to conclude, I don't know whether there will ever be a fourth one, but if they did decide to continue, these are the mistakes they should fix. A, advertising. I said, I never even saw the trailer of the first one. So if they do make a fourth one, they need to do a massive advertising thing of, hey, it's back. B, have a main storyline that you're following. And then other bits. Like I'll use the Harry Potter series as an example. You're following Harry the whole time, so you're mostly focusing on what Harry's doing. But there's still other bits that you could piece together ahead of him. Like, there's the entire bit with the guy getting killed by the plantings and mungos. They just, like, read one bit of the paper, happen to be there on the right day for another time, and piece together the pieces. So, it's still another storyline, but you only know it from sort of third hand. You don't need to physically see what was happening to that guy in between, if you like. So it's enough to see the plant arrive, see the report in the paper. You don't need to know the whole 6 months in between that. That's not relevant. So having the main storyline and then bits of others that you can piece together and leaving all the important stuff, but you don't need the filler stuff. I am a bit annoyed that they aren't going to finish the series, because I said it does seem a bit of a shame to have extended the series from 3 to 5 and then get it cancelled after 3. It's like, you should have just made the original 3 at that point. But I get why. There was too much filler, and I said I don't think the casting problems helped, because there were problems with at least 2 cast members. I don't know if there was more, but there were at least 2 cast members who had quite a lot of problems in the media, so I don't think that gave it very good publicity. And there has also been all the J.K. Rowling stuff, so I understand why it's not being made, but I think that is a shame. So I would still like to see what 4 and 5 were supposed to be, even if they're never made, like an outline of what the storyline was going to happen. Would be quite nice if that was leaked or something. And yeah, I suppose the other thing would be sort of not having characters for no reason. So I said I don't really see the point of Lally Hicks. I don't see the point of Nagini in 2 when they didn't bother to continue that in 3. So there's lots of characters that were just totally redundant. Certainly if you scrap them. Like, Nagini could have been great if they'd continued her in 3. But she got cut, so that made her entire presence in the second one a waste of time. So not having things that don't lead anywhere would be another thing. So if anyone working on the production company happens to be watching this and you do ever make the 4th one, those are the things you should do to make sure the 4th one's successful and people actually want to go and see the 5th one. And end with cliffhangers. The whole last line being that Dumbledore's your brother to Credence was a massive thing. I say, if you don't follow Super Carlin Brothers, just look up their theories on how Credence is a Dumbledore. They probably have a whole series of them. I can think of 4 off the top of my head. One included him actually not being because Corvus was a Dumbledore. Like, they went to town with them. But that was a good thing, because it meant I was continually seeing these things and remembering about the series and checking the release date. And that's why I said I rushed to the cinema to see it in the middle of the night. So if you end with those sorts of cliffhangers, it gets people engaged. Whereas with the 3rd one, I don't even really know where the plot would go. Like, apart from what happened to Grindelwald, but even then that's like, oh, did he die? Well, no, we know he didn't, because we know he fights Dumbledore in 45 from the original series. We know he's not dead. So if anyone could actually tell me what we're supposed to be waiting for film 4 to answer, I'd be interested to know that, because I can't actually work that out. So I'm trying to think of like things that we'd be waiting to be answered in the 4th film. Technically, what happened to Grindelwald, although it's more, did he survive? Well, we know he did, because we know he fights Dumbledore in 45, so that's not going to be a twist. I suppose the only one really is Newt and Tina, seeing whether they get together. But I'm not that bothered about the romance, generally. I'm more interested in the other stuff. So for me, that's not enough to make me be excited for a film that's not even happening. That's not enough to make me go, need to know what happens in the fourth one. Which I was a bit for the third one. I was like, I need to know how Credence is a Dumbledore. And to be fair, I'd have preferred if Super Carlin Brothers were right with most of their answers. Those would have been more interesting answers than just, oh, he's Aberforth's secret son. What? Where's the explanation in that anyway? I don't even recall either Aberforth or Credence ever saying his mum's name or anything about like how that happened or why Grindelwald said brother. Because that was the bit that everyone listened to. He said Albus Dumbledore's your brother. So he's not, he's his uncle. So I don't know how much this series was planned out beforehand. I believe when it was a 3-part series, J.K. Rowling had a sort of plan of where it was going to go. But when that got stretched to 5, how many more storylines were added would be an interesting thing to know, because I think that was the problem. It was too many were added to stretch it out to 5. Let me know in the comments if you agree with what I've said, if you have any other reasons why you think it was cancelled. Again, I said I'm not interested in the actors. Any other reasons why you wouldn't or wouldn't go and see the fourth one? Let's say it was coming out next month. How excited would you be to go and see it? Would you even bother? Obviously, if you're a fan of Harry Potter and have seen the first 3. If you haven't, then sorry for all the spoilers. So, hope you enjoyed this ramble about what happened with the Fantastic Beasts series, what went wrong, and what should have been done better. And I said, if you watch my channel regularly, you'll know that. So as I said, it is going to become quite Doctor Who predominant on this channel for the next month or so. I've still got the Ghosts final series review after the finale next week, but pretty much otherwise it's going to be very Doctor Who. So if you watch for Doctor Who, then you're in luck. If you aren't interested in Doctor Who, apologies, I'll be back with other stuff in a month or so. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Bye.